We've learned about public and private pusher channels, but there's also a third one, presence channels. So this builds upon your private channel, but it also gives you extra awareness of the room, so to speak. And the most common example of this would, of course, be a chat. So if you've ever joined a chat, somewhere on the side, you'll see a list of all users participating. If somebody joins the chat, their name is added to the list. If somebody leaves, their name is removed. So you could say there's extra awareness of all users who are currently present. Okay, let's add that to our project list here. We'll go to task list, and I'm going to add a sidebar here. So why don't we route this all within a row? Like so. And then here, this will be maybe 8 columns wide, and then we'll have another one that will be 4 columns. All right, this will be our active participants. So if we come back to Chrome, that should compile behind the scenes. And yeah, now I want to include all users who are currently present within this project. Let's come back to Sublime and right down here. So before we were loading a private channel, but now I'm going to join a presence channel. So this still extends your basic pusher channel. So your main API is still accessible there. But there's also 3 new methods that are available to you. One is called here. This is going to be triggered when the page loads, basically, and it will contain information about all users who are currently here. And what I'm going to do is log these so that you can see instantly when the methods are triggered, just as an example. The next method is joining, so when a user has joined the group. And then we, of course, have a third one for leaving. When a user has left the group, this method or handler will fire. Okay, let's give this a shot. But if I open up the console, I don't see anything here. And this can be a little tricky if you haven't read the documentation. Here's the issue. Within your routes/channels file, you'll remember this is where you authorize all of your pusher channels, or any channel, really. In this case, this works great for a private channel, but for a presence channel, you need to return information about the user who is present. So instead, I could say, well, if this user, the signed-in user, is authorized to participate in the project, I will return any information I need to about that user. So in this case, I'm returning their name. You could return their ID, their name, the email, all 3, anything you want. All right, that should do it. So we'll give it a refresh one more time. And now you can see the here method was triggered. And at the moment, I'm the only person present. Let's open up Firefox though. I have a separate account, in this case for my wife, that I've created. So if we go back to Chrome, she's now visible, or she has joined, and that is now reflected here. Let's have her leave. Now the leaving method is triggered. So that means these 3 methods combined should be everything we need to make this work. Let's try it out. Right up here, we could say, we'll just keep it dumb and dirty. We'll say, within a list item, filter through all of the participants. And we'll call that participant. Now, this will refer to the user record that was returned from the route authorization. You could call it users if you want. It doesn't matter. Anyways, we'll grab their name. So we need to track that data now. We'll initialize it to an empty array. And then right down here, once we have a list of all users who are present, we will assign it. Okay, back to Chrome. We give it a refresh, and now once again, I see my name. I'm the only one. If we go back to Firefox, now my wife's account has joined. It's reflected there. And if we go back to Chrome, well, we haven't added the functionality to append to that list yet, so we'd have to give it a hard refresh to pull in those changes. It sounds like that's our next step. So we'll say right here, we're simply going to push the user. And then when a user leaves, we just want to splice them out. So you can do that pretty easily by saying splice, and then let's just figure out where the index of that current user object is within the array. And from that point, we will splice or remove exactly one item there. All right, let's give it a shot. Refresh, we have 2 users. Back in Firefox, I will close, and now that's updated. Let's bring it back. Now we have 2 again. That's reflected there. And in fact, let's put these side by side. All right, now in Chrome, if I leave, now that is updated on this end. Very, very simple stuff. But there's one new issue that we've introduced, unfortunately, if we bring it back. If we try to add a task, tab away, well, yes, it's added here, and it is persisted, but it never gets saved and reflected over on this end. So we've introduced a bug. It's a small one, though. Think about it. Before we were using a private channel, and then we switched to a presence channel. So think about an old TV where you turn the dial, right? In this case, we're saying turn the dial to the presence channel. That's what I want to listen on. However, on the server side, we are still broadcasting on a private channel. It's a completely different channel, so of course you're not going to pick up on it. If we want to listen on a presence channel, then we need to make sure on the server side that we fire or we broadcast using a presence channel. And I will import that at the very top here. That should do the trick. So one more time, bring both of these back, refresh. We'll add a new task, tab away, and everything is working. So think about it. It's just not that much work, and we were able to add real-time updates as we added here. We were able to add this whispering functionality so we can pick up on when another user is in the process of adding something. And also we are tracking all users who are currently present. So that means if one user leaves, it will be reflected everywhere else for all other users. So it really is amazing how easy this ends up being if we use a presence channel.